Breaking news, everyone! Patch notes coming straight to you from me. Earthens and Marcolians nerfed into oblivion. Shroud, pretty much the same. Augencore and Kathari, they're buffed, but not in the way that you may expect. We're going to go over all of that right now. Today's notes are all about stat changes. So without further ado, we're going to get right into our favorite blue boys. Kathari, starting with the Drusian Exorator. Other friendly clones have +2/+1. It used to be a 6-cost 3/3 and has changed to a 5-cost 3/4. The health increase from 3 to 4 is all well and good, but we know why we're playing this guy. It's for the +2/+1 across the board, a huge buff whenever you drop this guy on a wide Kathari clone board. So the big change here is from the cost being 6 down to 5, 1 turn faster, a little bit better, and this is going to become a key card once again in Kathari, I assume. Next up, we've got Hydralisk Chamber. It still reads activate, destroy target friendly unit, gain 1 energy after this is activated twice in a turn, destroy it. The cost has been changed from 3 down to 1. This is a great card for Kathari now, another 1-cost relic. You're able to do more artifact appraiser shenanigans, and more importantly, it unlocks some sort of ramp for Kathari. They have no shortage of 0/1 or 1/1 clones that they can destroy. For extra energy now, they're going to be able to boost into the late game, start getting some of those bigger cards out. So I'm excited to see this one play. Disciple of Meritus. After a friendly Kathari unit is destroyed, this unit gains 1 counter. Aftermath, create a 1/1 Kathari iterant for each counter on this unit. At 4 energy, the stats used to be 2/2, and they've now been buffed up to 4/3. A big buff for the Disciple here. These are good stats for even a vanilla card with no card text. 4/3 is nothing to laugh at. And now, every time it dies, it creates more clones. That's huge. It's going to get the boards wide for Kathari. Valerusi's Standard Bearer. Still says, when another friendly clone enters the field, it gains +1/+1. Sticking at 2 energy, the stats used to be 2/1 and have now flipped to 1/3. With all the 1 damage pings going on in the meta right now, this changing from a 1 health unit to a 3 health unit is huge, already powerful, giving all the other clones that come into play a 1/1 buff. This is going to be good. Overall, Kathari just got way stronger. Lots of changes here for Earthen, and one big one everyone's going to be talking about. First off, though, we're going to talk about the Lady Paragon, Shoshana. Her cost has changed from 10 down to 9, still with the stats 12/10 and the muster ability of set your health to 30. Shoshana's coming out 1 turn earlier. We'll have to see how much this changes in the current aggressive meta, but there's a deck to be made here for sure against mid-range tempo decks. She should be really powerful. Lots of health to work with. We'll just have to see. Next up, we've got Gaffar being changed. His passive has been nerfed from giving everyone a +1/+1 to giving everyone a +1/+0 when Pacify is added to a unit. This is the biggest change in the patch, in my opinion. Gaffar has been an absolute menace in ranked, giving +1/+1 to everything that he sees, and now, without giving extra health to the units, things are going to be a lot more fragile, particularly if you're running any sort of decay. They're just not going to be standing up as long. So, will Gaffar be viable? I think so. I'm not exactly sure how viable. He certainly won't be the all-inclusive powerhouse that he was for Earthen before. And speaking of cards that have been a menace, the next one we've got is Dauntless Axeman. Still coming in at 3 energy. This used to be a 5/5, and now, with the same card text, it is a 5/3. This is a big nerf for Dauntless Axeman. 5/5 was a body that was very difficult to remove on turn 3, even on turn 2 if you have a Steward of the Garden on board. Now, your opponent's going to be able to take care of a 3 health unit much more easily, and we're going to have to see how playable this card is moving into the future, particularly with the next card changes that we have, that being Cellar. She still reads at the end of your turn if no combat damage was dealt this turn. You may pick a friendly unit to attack an enemy unit of your choice. It gains armed and evasive for this attack, but the cost has been moved from 3 up to 5, and its attack has been moved from 2 to 4. Now this one's interesting. 2 turns later, she's now a 5 energy card, and that is a huge nerf. But she's much more playable by herself now with 4 attack, rather than just 2. So the combo potential for her is vastly decreased, but her solo potential is moderately increased. She's for sure less powerful than she was, but we'll have to see if she is completely knocked out of the Earthen deck codes. I don't know. We'll have to see. Next up, we've got Hallowed Burial Ground. You've probably never seen this card, so I'm going to read the card text. After a friendly unit with decay is destroyed, create a tombstone with 0 attack, health equal to the destroyed unit's cost, defender, and pacifist. Also, the tombstones read, at the start of your next turn, destroy this unit. This relic's cost has been changed from 3 down to 2, making it a bit quicker. A cheaper relic is always good. This is a buff for Hallowed Burial Ground, but I haven't seen anyone play it, and frankly, I don't know how it even works. Do the tombstones give the Gaffar pacifist buff? Do they not? They destroy themselves at the end of the turn, so can you use them to do, if you can take pacifist off of your entire board, are they helpful? Maybe Nehemiah, because they do have defender, you can give them a bunch of attack and do a OTK. I mean, I don't even know. Let me know in the comments below if you're planning to use this or how you're going to plan to use it. I want to see some creative builds here. Next up, we've got Shoshana's Standard. It reads, after a friendly unit takes decay damage, it gains +1/+0, and it's now gone from being a 2 cost down to a 1 cost. The Standard being a 1 cost relic is interesting, particularly in the light of the Cellar and Dauntless Axeman nerfs. The reason it wasn't played before, even at 2 costs, was because there are better things to play in Earthen. Now, the early game for Earthen has been nerfed a bit, and so I'm interested to see what type of decay decks can really use this relic. Next up, we've got Ceremonial Rites. Says a damaged friendly unit gains +2/+2. The cost has moved down from 3 to 2. With Gaffar being nerfed to not give health, now this is a lifesaver for decay decks because it gives +2 to everything on the board. If you do have a damage board, this could keep everything alive, get it bigger, and especially with the 1 cost Shoshana's Standard coming into play, seems like there's a pretty spicy decay deck brewing for Earthen. Oh baby, Marcolians ground into the dust. Or are they? Will they go from the very top of the leaderboards to the bottom, or will they stay somewhere in the middle, or are they still on top? First up, we've got Ruthless Sergeant. The text stays the same. Muster, waste up to 3 friendly banked cards. For each card wasted, target a unit to deal 3 damage to. The cost, however, has been changed from 5 to 6, but the stats remain at 5/3. Ruthless Sergeant now comes out 1 turn later. This was a key card in the Marcolian matchup, and now it being delayed doesn't change the mirror match, but does change the matchup against other parallels, particularly board presence heavy ones. So it makes it a little bit weaker, but possibly still viable. Orbital Strike still says deal 5 damage to any target, but the cost has been moved from 4 up to 5. The flexible damage is now a premium when it comes to Orbital Strike. For reference, Crackshot, dealing damage only to the face, is 1 energy for 3 damage. So not as flexible now with 1 energy for every 1 damage you do on Orbital Strike. Doesn't seem as great, but it still might be played just because of the flexibility. Next up, we've got Unseen Commando. Still saying this unit can't be targeted by enemy abilities or effects. Assault, this unit gains +1/+1. It has been reverted from 2 health back down to 1. What makes this card powerful is its card text that it can't be targeted by enemy effects or abilities, but now it's a little bit more susceptible to onboard damage. Just back to normal with this guy. Overall, Marcolian's much weaker with these changes. I wouldn't expect them to be the overwhelming powerhouse that they've been between the last patch and now, but they still seem strong to me. Moving on to Shroud, we have 1 change and 1 change only. That's with the Paragon Nime. She still has Battle Ready, Evasive, She can't be targeted by effects, and a muster for each effect, relic, and upgrade you've played this game. Play a random unit from any parallel with the same cost. At 6/6, she now costs 9 energy instead of 10. A little bit faster, Shroud's combo Paragon is a bit more viable, although there still are quicker and more valuable ways to win with Shroud, so I don't expect this to make her a premium Paragon, but that doesn't stop Mr. Gon from atop his high tower, rubbing his hands, waiting for her time to come. Next up, we've got Augencore with their changes. First one being trade secrets. Copy all upgrades attached to target friendly unit onto another target friendly unit, with a big cost change going from 5 down to 3. The cost buff from 5 to 3 makes this card that copies everything a bit more appealing. I haven't seen it played too much, and I expect to see it a lot more now that it's just a bit cheaper. Jury Rig Juggernaut is still at 8 costs, so you can't play that and then copy even at a 10 energy. But if you have Reclamator or some other way to get to 11 energy, there's potentially a giant combo you can do here. It sounds fun. Maybe it's probably not viable, but it sounds fun. Next up, we've got Unfair Advantage. Target upgraded friendly unit attacks an enemy unit of your choice. It gains evasive for this attack. Cost being moved from 2 energy down to 1. This effect, comboed with Cutting Edge, makes it similar to Cellar, where you can just remove things for free. At 1 cost, this is now a completely viable option, and I expect to see people messing around with it. Next up, we've got Ship's Armory. It says, draw cards equal to the number of upgrades attached to friendly units. The cost is moved from 5 energy down to 3. In parallel, the cost to draw a card is somewhere around 2 energy on par. So if you're drawing more than 2 cards with this, you're going to be in Value Town. That means you need a unit with 2 upgrades, and with upgrades like Scanner Array, it seems pretty possible that you have another source of card draw here besides Ocular Implant that's completely viable for your deck. Bingo, bango, bongo, there you have it. Another patch notes in the book. We got Earthens and Marcolians getting their just desserts nerfed a little bit. We'll see how they end up. Augencore and Kathari getting their buffs a little bit more viable now, and Shroud staying pretty much the same with the exception of Mr. Gon's Pipe Dream coming one step closer to being a reality. Thank you guys if you watched to the end right now. Please like the video, subscribe, because we're coming out with these videos regularly. Next patch notes, we got more videos up on the line, all sorts of good stuff, so we really appreciate it. That's it for us today. We'll catch you next time. Peace.